Let's get ready. So,
Wait, hold on.
you
My
good?
bad. Uh, do you hear that sound in the background like a fan?
Nah, I don't hear. In my background, do you hear it?
No, in my background because my
Or
ears
not?
are on, but I'm right by it. Sometimes you can hear it.
Nah, you're good.
I bet. Wait, let me change one thing. So it's not on. And all right, we're good now. My bad.
I bet. So, I recently, well, I not I recently, but I recently reached out to this man who you better reach out and give a congratulations to because he just graduated and is now officially going to pursue his career. I'm gonna let him introduce himself and talk a little bit about what he does.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Tim. I appreciate you reaching out. Like I said, bring me on the show. But Kayson Davis, for you guys who don't know, just graduated from the University of Miami. Broadcast journalism major, looking to get into sports. I had a sports administration minor and an interactive media minor. And talking all things sports, mostly basketball, but co-host of the Rundown with my guy Rich. Shout out to Rich. And we weekly sports podcast where we kind of break into and get down to all sports.
What made you want to start the podcast? Because I know you were pursuing a career in you feel like this is like the stepping stone?
Really, I don't know if I had interest in starting like a podcast myself. Rich was doing a podcast kind of on the side, and he used to invite me over just to talk basketball and things like that. And then the person he was doing it with kind of got busy with other things and work and stuff. And Rich is pursuing the same career that I'm doing. So he went to school for communications and journalism, different things like that. So when the guy he was doing it with, towards the end of that podcast, I was going on like weekly with him. So then I kind of was just like, well, it was kind of like a mutual thing at the point, but I'm kind of like, yo, we might as well just kind of maybe restart it, do it over, maybe keep it because that one was a little crazy, but keep it a little more professional because we're both pursuing the same thing and we can kind of just help each other grow together and different things like that. So after that, I kind of just got on board and we just ran with it from there.
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome that you have like a partner because it's somebody you can talk to at all times as far as creative idea wise. But the fact that you're also able to overcome a lot of obstacles over the last couple of years and still able to graduate is pretty noble as well. Like that's something that needs to be shouted out. And the fact that you have come such a long way and come from where we come from, and to see the also hearing you on Sirius XM now every now and then is just another. It's like wow, this guy's actually making some big moves. Like Kayson's actually out there like making moves.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, just come from where we come from. There's not a lot of people who does things like that and really go to college and graduate. Now, obviously, there's a couple because we come from a pretty diverse place, I would say. So there's a couple, but like you see, I knew you and you knew my family, and I know your family for a while. You seen where we came from,
Yeah,
kind of how we started. Like you said, talking about adversity, losing family members, as in losing my brother and just other family members over the years. So yeah, it's good to see. For me at first, I didn't really maybe realize kind of maybe the magnitude of the things I was doing. I think more so I was kind of just too focused on all right, what's the next move? You know what I mean? Just like trying to keep it going like that. But graduating from UM the other day and having as many family members come down and really celebrate and really be happy for me and really care a lot more for it than I thought they would. Now I go to school in Miami.
that's your team. Like that's your family. That's the people there that like seen since day one. Or, like everyone I saw in those pictures that you're posting are just people that I've known for a fact that you've had like around like the hardest of times, and they've been with you. So it's nice that they're with you at the end though.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, they kind of made me realize a little bit more of kind of because like after I graduated, it's like next, all right, what's the next move? Gotta get a job now. I gotta keep it doing that. So I kind of wasn't really too worried about graduating, but them coming down, like I said, being happy for me, celebrating different things like that, it kind of let me live in the moment a little bit. Like, all right, this is kind of bigger than maybe I was taking it as. Like I was saying, I go to school in Miami, so I'm like, no one needs an excuse to come visit me in Miami. So I'm like, people just want to come. But nah, they really made me realize, like, yeah, it's bigger than maybe that. And like I said, overcoming everything and everything. So it's good to see.
Yeah, man. What made you want to go down to Miami to do all this?
Honestly, my honest opinion, it wasn't part of the plan at all. Like a lot of these things that we might get into, you're gonna see that I was kind of winging it a little bit. But my
Going
main
out the
goal was
vibe,
to get,
just letting the wind take you, basically.
yeah, like because I'm a firm believer in that God's gonna give you a sign or Jesus is gonna give you a sign. You're gonna get a sign on what's the right move to do. And when I'm gonna tell you the story right here, I was firm believe anyone that knows me and knows me, especially with sports, knows I'm a big Syracuse fan. So I was like, I'm going to Syracuse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to Syracuse. I'm going to Syracuse. I get into Syracuse. I go take the visit. I am about to put the down payment down to go to Syracuse. I have a cousin down here. I have a couple family members that live here in like the Fort Lauderdale area, and
Mhm.
I'm really cool with him, kind of like a brother to me. So he was telling me like, yo, just think about coming down here and doing different things like that. So another thing, people know me, I hate the winter. Like I've been in New York for a
I was
while.
about to say, bro, how the hell would you have survived up in Syracuse during December, January, and February? You would have froze to death out up there.
Yeah, definitely. I hate the winter, but I was a huge Syracuse fan, so I was all for it if things kind of worked out for me. So I was about to go to Syracuse. I was like this close, like literally this close, about to put the money down to go to Syracuse. And Miami was taking forever to get back to me. I applied to 5 schools. 4 of them was in New York and then Miami. So at first, crazy thing is, at first I was only gonna apply to Syracuse. It was on some like this is it or nothing. At the last moment, I panicked. I panicked like, nah, I'm bugging out. I gotta apply to some other schools. So I applied to some other schools. I had Miami. So I took the visit. I was loving Syracuse, everything. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna wait to see what Miami says just to keep my options open. So Miami was the last school to get back to me, and they got back to me really late. But they got back to me. I got in. So now I'm like, I need to go visit the school. I ain't never been to Miami. So I called my cousin up. He said I can stay at his crib. I can use his car to get to the school and stuff. Shot down to Miami, came, seen the school, and then I was stuck. I'm asking teachers, family members, everybody I can to talk to, like, should I go to Syracuse? Should I go to Miami? Now, the weather, obviously, here, I would have loved it. But in Syracuse, I know I would have had a better, maybe like school spirit type experience because I really liked the school. So I know like I really would have been like,
Right.
trying to do everything. So and really loved, even though it would have been cold, I'd have just loved being there because I love the school so
Just
much.
because it's like you idolize the school so much as like a college team.
Yeah. So I couldn't make the decision. So like I said, I was gonna leave it down to Jesus, God, whoever. I'm gonna get a sign about what to do. Now Syracuse got back to me financially wise, and I still would have owed them like 32,000. Like they gave me a lot, but I still would owe them like 32,000 because the school's like 70K a year. So they gave
Wow.
me like half. So now Miami again, because I wasn't planning on going there, I never filled out that financial aid stuff. I just applied to the school. I never planned on going there. Like I had no plans on going there. So I'm like, so as soon as I got into Syracuse, I was done. I was like, all right.
You
And
were
now
so
I'm like, yeah. So now I'm like, I gotta apply to financial aid. So I'm putting in financial aid stuff at the last minute. I'm going. They give it to me on the last possible day that they can give it to me. So I had to wait until like the last day at like 5 o'clock. And I think I had to decide by like 9 o'clock.
oof.
I looked and it was basically a full ride, all things considered.
Woo.
So once I seen that, I'm like, Miami's the way to go. I
That's
love
it.
Syracuse,
That's
but
it.
like on a full ride. At first, I thought it was a joke. I had to ask my sister, like, is this the right numbers that I'm seeing? But it was basically like a full ride. And after that,
Wow, man, a full ride down to Miami compared to already being like debt and everything. If you would have went to Syracuse, like you had to give up going to your dream school, but now you went to a arguably for broadcasting at least, I would say it's a better school because you have a lot of opportunity to run into other people who have um, experience, but also celebrities, which we'll get into that later on because I know you run into your fair share of people that you can talk about. But it's it's insane because you're getting ready. The second you're getting ready to put down this payment, and then you look down, it's just like, oh fuck that! Now I'm going to Miami.
yeah, it was crazy. My dad's girlfriend, she was kind of upset because she really wanted me to go to Syracuse, and I know it would have been easier for my friends to kind of get up to Syracuse, but Miami's still only like a
I
2 hour
mean, yeah, it's
flight.
a drive, but at the same time, but it's like you're better off taking that full ride because now you're in a much better state than where a lot of other college graduates are at. A lot of other college graduates are stuck in hundreds of $1,000s of debt with whatever interest as what I was looking for. So
Yeah,
it's just, that stuff, unless you take care of it immediately, it's just going to constantly keep building up. And some people are stuck in their 40s and 50s still paying their student loans that they took out in their 20s. But the fact that you got that full ride and you got from that the experience that you got, it's incredible. And the fact that you're also on Sirius XM every now and then, talk a little bit about that. How is that? How has that experience been? Actually being on the radio now.
oh, it's been great. Mike, the guy who showed is Mike McCoy. Shout out to Mike, my guy Mike. He was in my sports reporting class a few semesters ago. And after one day after class, me and him just kind of had sat back, started talking to the teacher and things like that. And then from there, we started building the bond. We kind of left there and we were talking on our way back to our cars and things. And then being in class together, we kind of just kept up with each other. And he was doing the radio station here at UM. He was doing big things. He met a lot of people. So he with his connections when the radio station here had went down because of COVID, someone else had gave him another opportunity down over there at Sirius XM. So after he got his show rolling a little bit, he reached out to me. He's like, "Yeah, I know you're a great basketball mind. You know what you're talking about. Love for you to come on the show and just, tell us about what you see, what you hear, what you got to say." And then I went on there once, and then he just kept inviting me back, inviting me back. So I've been going on there with him now for close to being a year now.
Wow.
So now Rich has been being on with us for the last few weeks or so. Me and Rich are both going to be on there for the rest of the playoffs every Wednesday, channel 145 on Sirius XM radio at
Right.
like 12:20, and then we both go on there now together and stuff. So it's been a great opportunity. It's been fun. It's cool to see that me being on the radio, and my mom's living on the West Coast now, so she can kind of hear it and different things like that. So she be sending me videos of her listening and things. So it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, because you're on a radio station that's not local. You're on a radio station where literally anywhere in the world where they have Sirius XM, you're gonna get that channel, and your voice is heard over probably thousands of listeners. It's it's got to be a little bit more of like a humbling feeling. Like I said, especially coming from where we come from, knowing that Anthony Kupchak was like the real last big name to come out of Brentwood, and his jersey's hanging up in Sonderling, and nobody knows. Like anyone ever, I've had multiple conversations, and barely anybody even knows who the Anthony Kupchak even was. They don't even realize that he was an owner of the Lakers at one point in life. Like they don't realize that that came from Brentwood.
Yeah, he was the GM of the Lakers. He might still be the GM of the Charlotte Hornets right now. So he's still out there. So yeah, great basketball mind and different things like that. I know, especially when Mike had broke the record. Shout out to Michael Modesty too. When he broke the record, they were bringing him up a lot. So
Wow.
I know about Mitch Kupchak. So I'm not surprised that a lot of people like don't know. Like I knew Mitch Kupchak before I knew he went to Brentwood. So like I knew about him from his time with the Lakers and different things like that. And then like later on down the line, like I said, close to like when Mike was breaking the record, they're like, yeah, he went to Brentwood. So I'm like, oh, that's crazy. So I kind of knew him like basketball wise first.
Yeah, the day that I could see you interviewing him one day, that would be an insane interview. But it just the amount of students that walk through that high school, especially Sonderling, and that jersey's hung up. They don't know. There's no one teaches. There's no other pictures of like him with the Lakers. There's no other pictures of him with the Hornets. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling
Yeah,
that these students don't recognize that can actually happen.
yeah. I don't know who to blame for that. Whether it's him not coming back and maybe showing as much love as maybe he should have,
True.
or maybe the school. Honestly, I guess I would blame both. Maybe both of them because if you have someone big like that, whether he doesn't come back or not, I'm pretty sure if Brentwood reached out to him, he would have no problem coming back and showing love. But also another thing is he graduated in like the 70s or something.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time. And I when you hear about his accomplishments, a lot of younger people should kind of gravitate and want to hear from him. But with it being so long and maybe his age, maybe the young people may not have. But like I said, it's probably on both of them in a sense.
Yeah.
Because I was a school, especially like I said, where we come from, we know what kind of goes on there. You got to show people something like, okay, you can do it. So whether it's him, whether it's someone else, if you have those people, you got to reach out to them and have them come. Like when Mike broke the records, I don't know if he was there, but he should have been there at least. Sent in a video congratulating him or something, which I'm not sure if he did, but I'm saying that's something. If it did happen, obviously we didn't know about it, so it should have been a bigger thing.
It's I really wish it was brought up a little bit more, especially in the high school, just because it would give the students just, even though it was in the 70s, it would just still give the students a little bit more of an idea that it is possible for you to do big things and to have major accomplishments coming out of this place. All it takes is just taking that step out of this place. A lot of people get too comfortable. A lot of people will sit down and they'll be settling down either in Brentwood or somewhere close around Brentwood. How many people that move out of Brentwood but go to like Deer Park or go to like Bayshore, Brightwater, go to Colmac. They mostly around the surrounding areas or 20 minutes away. Go to Patchogue. Like there's very few people that when they actually leave, they actually have a significant, I want to say, growth in their life, to the point that you're able to truly see what it means to get the fuck out of Brentwood and get the fuck out of New York, just to experience what it means to actually see life and to experience failures, experience accomplishment, but just keep going, keep grinding.
Yeah, definitely. I know what you're talking about. It's like we were just kind of just saying, when you don't kind of see it, it's like what you see around you is kind of like what you feel is your accomplishment. So for a sense, like some people moving a couple towns over, maybe moving to a bigger house, that's the accomplishment. So if that's what you're looking up to all your life and things like that, you're thinking like, okay, so I'll just move a couple towns over
True,
to maybe a
true.
nicer neighborhood. And that is what's making it. Working a regular job, it's kind of what's making it. And I don't really blame nobody for thinking like that, because that was me at one point. I'm not gonna lie to nobody. Yeah, high school and
That's
different.
that's all of us at one point when we all don't know what we want to do with our lives, when we're all just getting ready to really push forward and move on with get a paycheck, just to get a paycheck.
Yeah, so that was me. It took me going through it to realize that maybe I should make a little bit of a change or something. But you can get stuck in that type of mindset, and it's crazy because I know people from school and stuff, and they have seen some of the stuff that kind of goes back on at home, and they can't like understand like why would that be like the decision someone makes or something like that. But it's like when you don't understand, like if you haven't been there, understand it, you won't really get how you can get stuck in that mindset. When people say like you become a product of your environment, that's like a real thing. Like it's not a joke, and some people really kind of don't get it. It's like if that's all, if that's all you see, that's all you're gonna believe. And like I said, that was me at one point too. Like to think that I was about to go to to think that I was gonna do some of the things that I was gonna say if I go back 10 years and tell myself, uh, be a joke. I'd be like, yo, who are you talking to? Like,
I mean, it say like someone shows you the picture of you and Shannon Sharp and like 7 years ago, you think you'd believe that?
probably not. I probably wouldn't even believe that I'd be at Miami or doing anything. Like I said, I thought I was gonna be working a typical 9 to 5, maybe a little hustle on the side or something like that, and kind of stay around where I was. So to say any of this, and you know me too, I wasn't never really great at school. I wasn't one of these kids
I
in
mean,
high
neither
school
was
that was
I.
like,
So I mean, that's partially why we also got along. So
so like I wasn't one of those kids getting straight A's in high school. I wasn't doing none of that. I was the kid cutting class in the hallway, joking with my friends, getting in trouble, different things like that. So to see any of this, I'd have been like, yeah, right.
I mean, it just shows that there's room for change, though. Like it's never too late for you to change, and it's we're at the age where we're early enough that if we make the change, it's going to impact the rest of our lives. But it's a good rest of our lives. Like we're not doing the change when we're in our 50s and 60s and 70s. Like we're still well early in our lives, and we can live a couple more of our current lifetimes and still enjoy the success, but still appreciate the grind that we had to get through and the obstacles and the stuff that made us who we are today. The mistakes that we turned into lessons, and then the lessons that we turned into blessings. It's shit like that where if you actually are motivated enough to truly push for something that you want, you're gonna get there. It's just a matter of how are you gonna get there and how long it's gonna take you.
Yeah, definitely. Everything you said is true. And it's gonna take some trial, some error. Like I said, it took me going through a couple things to be like, nah, this is not it. And also just kind of like what I was saying before, like sometimes you kind of just gotta read the signs and know where to go and what to take. Like I didn't have no strategic plan saying like, yeah, I'm about to go here, yeah, I'm about to go there. I did, like I said, I wanted to go to Syracuse, but like when I first got to college and when I went to Suffolk, it wasn't like, oh, I'm about to go to Syracuse. It was kind of like, if you want me to be honest, I went to Suffolk on a they're gonna give me a refund check. I need a car. Trying to get a car. I wasn't really thinking about going to school or like my major. I don't know what my major was at the time and different things like that. So
Right. I
it's
mean,
really
that's
sometimes,
that's the place where you start though. Like it's a community college. If you don't know what to do, just you get a college experience real quick. See, feel what it's like to be a student again, but in the real world. It's a good step. It's a stepping stone, but see exactly where it led you though.
yeah. So you got to go through different things and just be willing, be open minded too. Be open minded to change and different
Big
things like
time.
that.
Big time. That's a that statement's put a exclamation point, bold, and all that stuff. You gotta change. You gotta be okay to feel. You gotta be okay with change. Like if you can be okay with change and actually grow from it, you're gonna see the best you and your top level of success down the road. As long as you just embrace the suck now.
Yeah, and don't let your pride get in the way too. Sometimes your pride, like, because you would want to do something, certain things, and like I said, coming from where we come from, it's like only like people look at you like only like a loser or something would do that type of thing. But it's like don't try to let your pride get in the way of other people saying like, oh,
Cole
you
said it the
this,
best recently. Pride is the devil. You know,
yeah,
he had a whole song drop about just like that, talking about like how bad his pride got the best of him and shit like that. Like pride is a motherfucker. Pride will get you killed.
yeah,
Pride can
yeah,
get you killed.
yeah, definitely. And things change over time. Like there's stuff that okay, people, nowadays people are making game clips, putting game clips on Twitter, Instagram, everyone's streaming and different things like that.
Yep.
I did that type of stuff in 2013. I have clips from like 2013. I never really I only really shared it with my friends because I did it because we used to play games a lot and share with our friends. But at
Yeah.
the time, it was like, who's really doing that? You know what I mean? That's like only like the losers are playing video games that much and recording different things like
Yeah,
that. But
that
nowadays,
stereotype that got brought down to us, like it's like if you're streaming, what are you doing? Like, what are you're watching streamers? What the
yeah.
fuck? It's,
Now, now
now damn near everybody does.
Yeah, now it's a big thing. And I can look back on it like I was doing that back in the day. So it's like times change. So don't let your pride get in the way thinking like, oh, you too cool for this
Bro,
now.
you know what? I actually do remember the days of. I feel like it was you and Hammy on Gears of War. I want to say it was Gears of War. It was what other game was back in the day? But it was. I know you guys were playing that like good.
I
Was it COD or was it Call of Duty? I can't remember which.
I think it was called we played a couple games. I think I got a couple clips with Mike. I think we was on some Halo a little bit.
That's what it was. It was Halo. That's what I remember from back in the day. Oh my god. God, do you remember those days? That Xbox 360 Halo 3 days?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Those are some good times. Chilling in your Mike's grandma's basement and just different
Oh
things like
man,
that.
dude, like it was, especially to see where we're at today. Like, it shows that if you actually say fuck the obstacles, you can like grow. There's no limit to what you can do. Like, never thought I would see myself doing half the shit I'm doing now, the personal training and all that stuff. Like, you asked me 5 years ago, I was pursuing a career, becoming a police officer. Now I'm pursuing a career for personal training and fitness and mental health awareness. It's a lot that comes with this life experience. If you take life experiences and you actually use those lessons more than just say the bullshit that we were taught through a fucked up education system, that doesn't teach you priorities, that teaches you a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That's the only damn formation the only thing that whatever it is formula that I can remember from then. But when this when you take the time to actually properly educate yourself emotionally, but also with the life lessons that were handed to you, there's always something that you're never going to expect yourself to be doing. You'll find yourself down that you'll find yourself down that kind of road and find yourself doing something that you never knew that you loved. And eventually it's going to become a passion, and the passion to become a true career and money source. Whatever. Can't find a fucking word I'm looking for here, but
Income.
yeah, a lot of life stuff there. That's just a lot from the stuff that we've seen and from where we're growing up from. A lot that can be said. But now you
Yeah.
see pictures of you and like with Skip Bayless. How was it meeting Skip? How was it meeting? Shannon Sharp? How was it actually like getting like the upfront handshake with them?
It was pretty cool. It was actually unexpected because I just had went to the show that was down here in Miami, and then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna have a meet and greet." And so at the end of the show, we got to go. But they were actually cooler than expected. Skip was taking his time with everybody to the point where they had to like rush him because Skip was like really sitting there and talking to people. So
Oh,
like
that's
if you
awesome.
got when you got to Skip, he'll shake your hand, he'll talk to you about, hey, how you going, how you doing, this and that. Skip was like really, and like he was like holding the line up talking to people.
Yeah.
Shannon Sharp was kind of the same, but he wasn't taking as long. It was a quick, hey, how you doing? Yeah, nice to meet you. He'll talk to you a little bit, but he knew like the line kind of had to go. But Skip, I mean, it's his show. But he was holding the line up. Like he was just like really, you really got to sit and talk to Skip for a little bit if
See,
you wanted
I
to.
would have thought actually the complete opposite, to be honest. I would have thought that Shannon Sharp would have won the holding up a long time, but it's actually that Skip is taking the time to really sit down with students, though.
Yeah, Skip really cared about the fans. You can tell he was like, they had to tell him like Skip, like we gotta go type of thing and really rush him because he was really taking his time just sitting there talking to people.
That's awesome. Like especially with how fake people can be through their social medias. To hear that he's actually genuine and to sit down with students, it's I like him a little bit more, even though half the shit he says is bug shit crazy. But I like him a little bit more now. I'll say that.
Yeah, Skip can be crazy sometimes, but yeah, nah, that opened my eyes to Skip a little bit too. Me and my friend who went there, we were like, yo, like he was really sitting there like talking to people. So it was cool, like you said, to see like people who you see a lot of people
Dude.
who act like they're like that, but when you meet them in person or something, they're not really like that. Nah, Skip's not one of them. Skip is like, I don't know how he is if you see him like on the street or something like that. I'm sure he would stop and talk to you if he had time, but at the show, he was really talking to people.
I mean, like, like, kind of also shows why Shannon Sharp does just do the show with him. Because I also do listen to the Shannon Sharp's podcast that he has on YouTube as well, and the guests that he has on, sometimes there's a little bit of tension, but most of the time with Skip, there's no real serious tension. It's just a lot of play tension, but at the same time, the energy they give off each other, that's a pretty solid duo. I want to say I like Skip and uh, Uncle Shay. I want to say it was really. I know I'm probably going to get a little hate for this, but I feel like I like them better than Stephen A. and Skip together. I feel like they have a better chemistry than Stephen A. and Skip. I
Yeah,
don't know how
I
you
can.
feel about that one. I know it's a little bit of a hot take, but I know a lot of people miss the old days of First Take.
I can see that. I think Skip's been in the business and he's kind of one who started these debate shows. So he kind of knows maybe what to look for in a partner and kind of how to, run the show and different things like that. So I could see that. I mean, I guess it's been a while now since we sent Stephen A and Skip, but
Yeah,
Shannon, I think Shannon brings a different personality. So I think it's Stephen A has his personality, obviously, but Shannon Sharp is more of a like regular person type of personality. Like Shannon Sharp kind of, and he talked about this on the show before, like how they try to teach him to talk different and different things like that. But nah, Shannon kind of just like if he was a regular person off the street and you just brought him on the show, he kind of just gives it to you like that. So Shannon is like
he's got some
maybe a little more
funniest
relatable.
mic'd up clips on the field. Like it, I don't know. There's that many people that have like you could watch those clips and just laugh your ass off. They actually someone bring you a little bit. It's like if you love comedy and sports, it's just Shannon Sharp's one of the best shit talkers too.
Yeah, so he's a little more relatable. Like, obviously, like I said, Stephen A has his own personality too, but Stephen A is kind of more of a in your face, and maybe some people it can come off a little arrogant, but Stephen A is also kind of with the people. But like I
A
said,
little arrogant.
like I said, with Shannon Sharp, he's more of a like a he's just talking to you like he's just talking like he's talking on the street, and I think that's more relatable for people.
It also, but the growth of Stephen A. now has also got to be giving new motivation as well to see his own show now on, not only through the morning shows, but now his ESPN Plus show and his podcast that he has now also. Was he any type of motivation for you as well growing up?
Yeah, not growing up, but recently, yeah. When I got because this, I wasn't one of those people who said I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that. This was the plan, like I kind of was saying before. But like when I really realized maybe my second or so year in college that this was something that maybe I should pursue. Yeah, from there, yeah. So more recently, when I decided to, I guess, get into the business and want to be in the business, he's definitely been inspiration, motivation, and different things like that. First of all, he's from Queens, so he's right
Yeah,
here
that's
in
it.
New
He's
York.
also from here. He's from Long Island, so it's another opportunity that shows you.
But before I got into it, I was watching, like everyone knows, I just watch Sports Center and watch sports clips and stuff like that all day. So I was watching him a lot before. So maybe he wasn't a motivation before, but he was someone I definitely watched and I listened to, and I like, I don't want to say I believe what he said, but like I felt like I related, not related, but I felt like he said a lot of true things. So he's someone before that I watched a lot and I liked his craft and different things that he did. So before I got into it, but after I got into it, definitely I was kind of like, I could be like Stephen A. Smith. And he actually has a quote that if you look on my Twitter, I have it in my likes. It's like I have 3 likes. 2 of them is his quote, and another one is when Chadwick Boseman died. R.I.P. to Chadwick Boseman. But he has a quote where it's like, he said that being a professional player and making millions and like that, that's like their American dream. But being him, no, he said that's like a fantasy dream. He said, but being him is like the American dream where you can kind of really create a career for yourself. And because being the, the numbers to be an athlete, a professional are kind of low. So he's like, anyone can be me. So I'm really more of the American dream. Not that he wasn't trying to like big himself up, but he's saying like I'm more of the
That's
American
true,
dream.
though.
So that's a quote that kind of stuck with me and I like. So yeah, he's definitely been a motivation.
Yeah, that was also another reason because I saw the Twitter post as well. And but it's Stephen A. is coming from somebody from Long Island, and just to see also just the growth and the one his interviews on the Breakfast Club as well. That's what really I want to say kind of got me to the point where I was like, before whenever he was on First Take, I'm just like Jesus. Every time it is, even now, there's some takes that still have me just a little bit of the cringing side. But whenever he was on the Breakfast Club, and then also whenever the Cowboys lose, and whenever I want to say the Knicks are doing fairly well, which currently right now, shout to the Knicks. Like that was, it's incredible to see them in the playoffs at least again in our lifetime. But it's at the same time, it all he won me over to decide for not just what the show, like his adventures of going outside of his regular comfort zone of just being on in the morning and being that guy on the radio. Like he went to being that guy just heard on First Take to now you can hear him on iHeartRadio. You can hear him through ESPN Plus with his own now private show. Like that's where whenever he has Baby Stephen A on, it's they he argues with himself. That's just pretty funny. I cannot not laugh at that. He also shits
Yeah,
on himself at the same time.
yeah, definitely. You got to kind of get out of your comfort zone, kind of like we were talking before. So he's been able to grow his career and different things like that. Some of those takes you gotta remember that they have to have arguments or something on there. They still have to have TV ratings. So maybe he believes some of the stuff, but also some of the stuff you got to know that like they still need
I
to
agree
have
with
their
you.
ratings.
Yeah,
But also it's like now with the media, you gotta be like a personality. So like him screaming, him doing all that type of stuff, it gives him a personality that people kind of relate with, and people kind of either you like it or you hate it, but you're gonna maybe tune in to watch it. So now with the
but
media,
why you
you
tune
got to
in?
have a little, but it's like you don't like LeBron James, but you might watch the Lakers game. You know how people are. Like people, if you
Obviously,
like,
Lakers are in
like
the
if you
playoffs. You're gonna watch.
like if you hate some people, because I don't do this, but like if you hate it, like you still might watch it to see. You got to know what you hating on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Uh, Regardless, you gotta respect the man for being as active as he is now, and still being in the whole I want to say ESPN game. Like he was he was a part of the growth of before there was ESPN Plus, before there was all these extra YouTube clips, before there was Instagram, before there was any type of real exposure. Like Stephen A's name was still being brought out whenever there was a wild take that would be said. So I get it. Like it does generate ratings, but at the same time, like some of his real uh, I want to say not the hottest takes, but like the takes where he's going more into serious topics, like real world topics. I feel like he loses people because he's just a supposedly labeled as that sports guy. But if you really listen to Stephen A's story, and whenever he talks about serious stuff like the Black Lives Matter movement, you got to listen to him because he's speaking from experience, but he's also working with an industry that he's transforming as well. And he's seen a lot of the change firsthand. And he's somebody that, regardless if you see him as just a sports guy, like you can definitely listen to him on like more real level on like life lessons.
Yeah, but he's been doing that. If people didn't know, like I remember an old take back in the day when I was growing up, of him calling out black athletes. Like Stephen A. has always been the one to touch on those type of topics. It's just nowadays people, when you do one thing, people want you to stick to that one thing, and that's kind of the stigma that a lot of people are trying to change nowadays. It's like, just because I talk about sports all day doesn't mean I cannot touch on real life topics. So that's the thing where it's like that's what a lot of people are trying to change now. So he was doing it before, but I think now that there's a bigger light on that type of change, I think that helps it, and it helps how more people are going to listen to it now.
Yeah,
Because they're like, okay, you're not just a sports guy. You know what I mean? You're not just this. You're not just that. So now that that change is coming in the world, it helps them
it
bring a
brings
bigger
in a
light
new
to things.
audience as well. Like some audience you may lose, but at the same time, that's the audience you're going to gain.
Yeah, and he, like I said, he's been doing things like that. It just might not have got the attention because it's like, oh, you're a sports guy. I only talk about sports. But with the
And also,
change and
the sports and real life topics are now really being
yeah,
in like mingled. I want to say really since Colin Kaepernick took his knee. Once he, I know that there were plenty of other statements back in the day, but there's no other statement that's talked about more often than the knee, and then how much that change has brought since the knee. Uh, it's not there's not still there's still a lot of work to be done. There's still a lot of work to be made. There's still things that need to be done that haven't. I'm not trying to make this a whole political podcast as well, but he like sports in real life. People understand like, yeah, sports was our little getaway, like to get away from real life issues, but those athletes are still real people. Those are still human beings who experience the same kind, not the same exact lives, but similar lives to what we had. They still bleed the same blood. They breathe the same air. They had the same bone structures and all that shit. They may be a little more athletically gifted. They may work a little bit harder than you. They may have more discipline than you, but that doesn't mean that they aren't human beings who still can experience the same today's issues. And just because they're playing a game doesn't mean they can't express what they're truly feeling while they have the attention of the whole fucking world. Like take advantage of while you got the eyes on you. Like there's messages that need to be said and people that need to say the messages that don't realize the truth that's being misled in the media. When there's a knee that's being taken, it's not because they're being disrespectful towards this flag. It's because there's still some serious fucking issues in this world, in this country specifically, that can be simply eradicated if everybody just actually paid the fuck attention and stop listening to fucking Fox News.
yeah, that's 100% true, and I'm happy that you brought it up. Like you said, the real world and sports are becoming one now. So it's like, that also makes it easier for people to kind of talk about it and bring a light to it. And like you said, you brought up Kaepernick. Shout out to Kaepernick again. Like you said, taking the knee and really bringing the light to it. Because even when that was brought out, you saw how he got attacked. Like, just kind of like on the thing with LeBron. Like,
I'm
just
not gonna lie. When he first took the knee, I was also pretty pissed off until I actually took the time to understand. And people who are still pissed that he's doing that have yet to understand that a fucking Green Beret told him to do so. Somebody in the military told him, who sees the exact same bullshit that's going on in this country, told him to do exactly that. But they'd rather feed their own rage. They'd rather say, no, they're disrespecting the truth. But there's also black troops.
yeah. So like I was about to say with the LeBron point, it's the more than an athlete type of thing. That's the new movement. It's more than an athlete. and kind of to what you were just saying, it's like some people, you get stuck on one thing and you're not going to hear the other side. So I don't like, if you ever argue with someone who just like they heard this first and that's what they're going with, so they're not going to listen to the other side. So no matter what the other side says, if they're right, wrong, this and that, a couple people will change, but there's those people who are just going to be stuck on like, no, this is what it's about. Because like we were just saying, there's been mad reports. He's come out and say, the other people have come out and say it is, he did not mean to disrespect the troops when he did that.
Those are the
I
people
think
who are afraid of change. It's those people who are still in the same hometowns, that are in the same houses they were growing up. It's the same people that are struggling with their own image when they look in the fucking mirror. It's those same people.
And to the point of like people were bringing up the white privilege, there's a lot of people who don't want to lose that. So when you see things like that, it's kind of like, you know, when you're attacking something, when you have that privilege and you see it maybe about to go away, or someone's attacking or something like that, you're gonna get defensive. You're gonna, you know, stand your ground and not want to change the real those type of people. So like you said, it's everything you said is 100% true.
Argue that white privilege isn't real or are completely fucking ignorant with the real world topics. White privilege is obviously a real thing, because we can go down that whole rabbit hole of the recent mass shootings and how majority of them are who didn't take their own lives are still alive in custody, but people who it's the recent year anniversary of George Floyd. You had somebody kneel on somebody's neck for over 9 minutes on video.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And then people see that and still don't think that there needs
They'll
to be
say
a
that
change
George
or
Floyd was
anything.
on fentanyl. They'll say that George was a drug addict, that he was already in jail, but they don't see the actual true act of like what the like get off his neck. The guy's dead. He's already been dead, but yet they still were on his neck for an additional minute and a half.
Yeah, if you think about it, 8 minutes is a long time. Like when you watch a video, son, 8 minutes doesn't seem that long. I wanted to tell someone, just sit in your thoughts for 8 minutes and count it. I bet you realize how long 8 minutes is to really be on someone's neck. Even if you watch the video, you realize like, bro, there's a lot of things you can do in 8 minutes. To be on someone's neck for 8, 9 minutes is kind of ridiculous. And to see that and not think there needs to be a change or anything like that. Like I said, it's just the people who it's working, the system's working for them. So it's like it's hard for them to kind of let it go.
They don't want to see the true change and the true equality take effect. You ask somebody, raise your hand if you switch person with any type of I forgot the woman's name. She said, raise your hand if you would switch with a role with any black person in America. And nobody raised their hand in that room. Then you also had Chris Rock, who came out with that joke saying that nobody would switch roles with him and he's rich. Like he made a joke out of it, but it's a real topic. Like there's a conversation that people are constantly avoiding or constantly get mad at or immediately triggered, that they're not taking the time to really calm it down, really listen, and stop looking at their 6 and thinking it's a 9, when you can actually completely, if you really walk to the other side and you see it from their perspective, you take the time to really listen, you can see the change. You know, I'm proud to say that I took it. I had to take the time to properly educate myself on everything what's going on, and being out there protesting last year as well. It was something that gave me a little bit more of an understanding, being close to everybody that was around that time, like around us, and part of the 7 different protests I was part of. Even though they were getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, there were still people of all races. There were still people of all faces, and it was all people looking for the same cause. The one that we did in Brentwood, there was about maybe 20 of us. The one that we did out in Smithtown, there was 20,000 of us. The one that we did when we shut down Sunrise Highway and what was it, the Sunken Meadow Parkway, we shut down half of majority of the main roads over out in Nassau County. Right, I want to coming up in the next couple of weeks is like the year anniversary of it. Regardless, it was all for the same issue, and never did it get violent. Never was there a sign of hostility. We had actual interactions where we had the police walk with us, where state troopers were guiding along with us. They allowed us to protest peacefully. You know, people don't understand it. It is possible to unify. People are just having that true education.
Yeah, definitely. And you need things like that. You need athletes sticking out because even when we talk about media and things like that, with the media, you see people all the time. It's like, oh, they shape the message this way. So you can have a story, but if someone shapes it a certain way, it can sound believable. So it's
Look at
like,
the recent story with the gas prices. Look at the
yeah,
recent story with that whole shutdown, like the gas shutdown on that main pipeline on the East Coast, and Fox News ran with it. Oh, they were talking about $5 a gallon, $10 a gallon to stock up. And what did the fucking idiots do? They bought garbage bags and filled it up with gas, and
yeah,
yet nothing changed. Gas is still the same price as it was like at least a month ago.
yeah. It's crazy like how a story can be shaped a different way. And if you know people and like arguing with people, if someone believes that they're right, even if they're dead wrong, there's nothing you can say to them to kind of change their mind. So
Ignorance is bliss.
yeah, so you gotta have that message getting out there, and the people who really like you just said, and the point you brought up, go out there and really seek it and really understand and really want to pay attention and really want to learn and not just want to feel like they're right. Those are the people who are kind of going to get it. But the people who are on the other side and they don't want to listen, they're kind of going to be they're stuck in their ways, which is kind of the messed up thing about it. But it's
They're the
good
ones
that
that have
like
the privilege working for them. They're the ones that the second they have any type of real altercation, they immediately are the ones yelling, screaming, loud, getting loud, trying to get attention. And second you try to put hands on them, they get all defensive and panicky.
yeah, and that's
It's
why
a coward culture. It's coward culture. It's not even there's cancel culture and there's coward culture because they refuse to travel outside their brains because they're scared of the change.
and you need that message out there because the more they hear it, the more that it's out there, people protesting, you hear it, they might maybe and you hopefully think like, okay, I can try to see the other side, or you see people protesting and you see people that's the same skin color as you protesting, and you hear athletes that's the same skin color as you, or athletes that you looked up to, and you may start to think like, okay, there might be a different answer here, and I may be wrong. So you hope for the best, and like I said, you need those type of things, and it's good that everyone did it. It's good that the NBA shut down those games. It's good that Kaepernick took the knee, even though it cost him his job.
Yeah,
All that is
the
good
man's still
because
not an NFL. I mean, the last NFL workout, you can't fully put the blame on NFL for that one. I mean, he didn't look like he maintained throughout his whole the time being away from the NFL, and he just looked like he was just going to be somebody they were going to use as a second string, and it was no longer to be a starter quarterback.
yeah, I don't knock him for that. And even if you remember that workout, Stephen A was reporting on it and different things like that. Like he said that they wanted him to sign some waiver or something like that. So you can't knock him for not wanting to sign that waiver either, because who
True.
knows what they had him sign or what it was gonna go. He said it obviously wasn't beneficial to him, so I don't knock him for whatever happened. And also in the situation that he was in, at first those people hated him. When the message started to change and things flip, now all of a sudden they loved them. When
Yeah.
that type of thing, it's like, can I trust these people now? You know what I mean? So I don't knock him at all.
No, no. Honestly, I didn't really think of it like that. I didn't really think of it that way, personally. I saw it. I listen to a lot of other sports shows in the morning when I get a chance to. Like I don't know if you know who Pat McAfee is. That show that he has on YouTube. It's also on Sirius XM. He's somebody that I listen to a lot. I just remember hearing certain whenever he had guests on talking about how Colin Butch did, but recently he didn't look too great. But the message is still there. But then he didn't want to sign a waiver. I remember the waiver part that I do remember, but it didn't really that part didn't really sink in. I just remember watching some videos of him looking eh, and I wasn't too impressed with his physical. I knew that he was looking. I wasn't necessarily the character culture, but it was just the physical aspect. I was looking at it as like an NFL player. I was trying to see like maybe the Giants or the Jets could snag him up because Daniel Jones is just throwing constant fucking interceptions and he's fumbling the ball, or the Jets could use somebody, at least somebody that can get outside the pocket and run a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, but you gotta think if anyone takes 4 years off or 5 years off for their career and you just try to come back, you gotta get back into that shape. You can work out, you can do all those type of things, but that's not gonna keep you in game shape. And you hear athletes say that all the time. So I don't knock him. And also he probably didn't know the way things were going for him. Like obviously he still got up, he still probably worked out, but I can see his confidence getting a little. Not that I can see it, but I'm saying like I can see if he started feeling like his confidence was getting a little low. So maybe
Well,
you're
that you saw
not.
after the Super Bowl loss. The next year after that, he definitely didn't play the same. He
Yeah.
wasn't the same Kaepernick after that loss to the Ravens. Because even the Ravens in the first half of that Super Bowl. Whew, whew, whew,
So
whew.
so taking 4 years off and then try to come back and work out and things like that, I don't blame him too much for it. But also he could have been a backup quarterback for somebody. You think about all these quarterbacks that are running, they're athletic now. He was doing that before. So you can't tell me the Ravens couldn't use him right now to have him teach Lamar Jackson a little something or something like that.
But I think that's the reason why they brought in RG3. RG3 could have taught him a little bit more, but obviously we saw how RG3 played.
But
Before he got hurt, but
you can't compare those two careers though. RG3 was obviously great when he started, but injuries kind of derailed his career from there. If you think about it, he had what?
his rookie season, that was up until that late in the year, man. He transformed that Washington team. You cannot say that. You cannot do that.
But that's like I said, it started off, but then injury after because he had injury at the end of that year. Injuries kind of started derailing his career. So like you can learn something from him. Obviously, I'm not going to say you can't, but you think about you just brought up Kaepernick in the Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls. You can learn maybe a lot more from someone who's been in 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, he's. I want to say he was athletically gifted, but as far as being able to run the ball, being able to throw short passes, but as far as throwing the deep ball, he didn't really have the gunslinger of an arm. That's one thing I remember watching about Colin Kaepernick. I didn't remember seeing him throw down the field. I always remember seeing the scramble or throw the short pass.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other quarterbacks that's kind of like that now. We think about Lamar Jackson. That's their main thing about him is he can't
throw a deep pass.
He can't throw it as deep. But then if you bring in Colin Kaepernick, like I'm saying, you can, okay, what did you do that didn't work? So maybe I can try something different. You know what I mean? So you still can learn from his mistakes and from what he did right. So it's not just about, like I was saying, the Super Bowl and what went right, wrong went right. Oh, yo, I did this and it didn't work out for me. Now, obviously, you can try it and it can work out for you because you're different. But we both can't throw it from far. So you know what I mean? Like we can't throw it deep. So I did this every day. It didn't work. You should try maybe something different for you because obviously that's not working. So you still can learn from his mistakes too.
True. I was hoping that would also be something that RG3 could teach him because there was plenty of things that where slide.
I think RG3 can teach him more so of obviously trying not to get hit and different things like that, but overcoming adversity and injuries and getting down. I think RG3 would be more of a quarterback that can kind of, like I said, teach him more about adversity. Because if you think about RG3's career, that's kind of what it is, kind of what it was. And yeah,
we're also in a time frame where NFL players are taken more care of, as far as hits or as far as time off. They're all it's a different game now than when it ever was. Much so to the point that you actually have now Tim Tebow coming back as a tight end, and he actually looks not a completely amazing tight end, but he looks solid enough that he can catch a ball on a short route, and somebody will have a little bit of a hard time tackling him, maybe because of the boulder's arms that he's. I don't know if you got a chance to see some of the shots that came out the other day, but there's a meme going around saying that Tebow has been lifting more than Bibles, but it can show you that at Brandon Jacobs, not Brandon Jacobs, Josh Jacobs. Oh my God, what Jacobs? It's from the Giants running back, early from the early 2000s and early 2010s.
I think I know. I can't remember his name right now. I think I know who you're talking about too.
He's in his 40s and he's talking about coming back as a defensive end. He played running back his whole entire career, but then wants to now come back as a defensive end, saying, I could tackle a QB right now. My speed, I can't really run the ball, but I could definitely tackle a QB. So we're in a game right now where you have athletes in their 40s. Tom Brady is a key fucking example. I mean, you were in Florida when they won the Super Bowl, correct?
Yeah, but they were in Tampa. I was in Miami. They're
Miami,
like 5 hours away.
But even that's Florida is basically Super Bowl there at the end of the day. They had to have been a crazy environment, like just seeing Tom Brady playing in Florida. At least I know he's not for the Miami Dolphins, but at least for you can say that for a Florida team that Tom Brady coming down and then picking up his who he wants to win, and they actually win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was great to see, even though you said like I'm in Miami. The Super Bowl was here 2 years ago or something like that. So that was a great experience. And it was up in Tampa. So I can really imagine kind of how it went. But seeing seeing him go there was good. It was a lot of people say he couldn't do it without Bill Belichick. So it was good to see him go there and really establish himself. Because some people, it's even with the Tim Duncan thing. It's like how good would he have been without Pop in that team. So to see him go there and kind of write his own history and be able to show people that he can do it on his own is great. And then he's 40, so to be able to do it at that age is great. And then
Yeah,
he got,
Tampa
like you
was
said,
talking
he
about
kind
they
of
want to play 50. Like, can you
yeah, and
imagine that he wins the Super Bowl at fucking 50 years old, bro?
and he kind of, like you say, he picked the team that he wanted, so he was able to kind of go there and turn a franchise that hasn't been maybe the greatest franchise and turn them into winners. So I think that only solidifies his legacy even more.
You look at that playoff run. They take out Drew Brees, they take out Aaron Rodgers, and to top it all off, they take out the defending Super Bowl champs and made it look easy. The Chiefs didn't even score a fucking touchdown, man. And then
Yeah,
you had Brady basically picking on Matthew the whole entire time. Like the Honey Badger couldn't even get a proper interception or a proper deflection. Brady said, "All right, now I'm picking on you," and literally picked on him the whole rest of the fucking game. Like he was somebody that's like there's no explanation there why he's so gifted, but for the combine that he ran, or what the way he looked, how there was no specific target saying that. I think it was like Madden 2000 or Madden 2001 or 2002, whichever one it was, that it had him at a rating 65, like he as number 12 quarterback. To now seeing the legacy he's now in is that's another man. It's just more opportunity for these players to be like you can be in your 40s and still win Super Bowls.
and that also goes to show you that sometimes the ratings, sometimes the scouting, all that don't mean nothing. Sometimes you just need that opportunity. You need to be in the right spot. So you could I see it a lot with NBA players too. You could be drafted in the second round, the last round, but if you end up in the right spot, it may work out better than someone who was drafted before you or rated higher than you because
Yeah.
you may go to a spot that's not trying to develop quarterbacks as much. They're trying to straight put you in a situation where you got to win now, and that pressure might be there, and you might not be ready for it. So you can go somewhere in the later rounds where the pressure's not really on you, and they have a better development team. So I think shout out to him, obviously, for doing all the work and putting all the work that he put in, and also shout out to the Patriots for their development and letting him
Yeah.
and
Now
teaching him and
we're
letting
in
him.
playoff. We're in the playoff times right now. What's your final guesses right now? I know it's maybe a conversation we've had before. I haven't gotten a chance to listen to the full episodes lately. I got a chance to tune in for the most part, and I want to know who you think who you think is going into the finals.
Uh, so if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I I
Because
I
the
was
Knicks coming this far definitely flipped up some heads real quick. Nobody expected them to come this far at all.
I was taking on the whim, kind of a hot take that the Phoenix Suns may be able to knock out the Lakers in the first round, but with the injury that happened to Chris Paul, it seems like the Lakers are going to be able to take that series. So after they win that series, they'll either go up against Portland or against Denver. And right now it's looking like Denver. Without Jamal Murray, I don't think the Nuggets can take down the Lakers. So I'll take the Lakers in the next series, and then they'll end up in the conference finals either against the Clippers, Jazz, or maybe the Mavs. All good teams. The Jazz have the number one record in the league. Good team. Only team there that I think can maybe knock them off is the Clippers, but they have not looked as good to start this playoffs. They're down 2-1 to the Mavs right now. So I think the Lakers are going to
I'm telling you, don't sleep on the Mavs.
see even if the Mavs make it to the conference finals, I think they'll be too young. There a lot of us. Luka, I guess is his second playoff run. KP is on his second playoff run. I
At
think they have
22
the
years old,
fire.
see what this kid's doing. Like it's insane. Like the
Yeah,
kid's balling on the court.
yeah, he's definitely playing out of his mind right now, and really putting the world on notice. But I think when you think about LeBron James and the Lakers and what he's able to do, I don't think they're gonna be able to knock those guys off. So I see the Lakers getting back to the finals. And then in the Eastern Conference, I think that no one's gonna be able to stop the Nets. I think the Bucks look good and they might be able to take out the Heat in 4. The Sixers look really good, but I think when it comes down to it, I think the Nets just have too much firepower for either one of those teams. So I think when the problem with the Nets is they haven't been able to play together all season. So they have to get that chemistry going and it's in the middle of the playoff time. So it's like you
Kind
don't
of
really
hard to
have too much
develop a
time.
chemistry when it's right smack that in the middle. You finally have everybody all healthy.
Yeah, but I think going through these first couple playoff series and different things like that help them. And KD and Kyrie's obviously played together before. Kyrie and Harden was able to play together while Kevin Durant was out, and then Harden and KD played together a few years back. So I think they do have some chemistry, but I think at the end of the day, it's gonna be hard for any team to stop those three guys. So
There's
my
also got Blake
finals,
Griffin in the background too. People forget that Blake Griffin was actually on the Nets now, and he's
yeah,
making some
and
weird little plays every now and then. That he's not as talked about as he is as he used to be, but you just throw in somebody who's as seasoned as he is as well, and not somebody who's just like a rookie off the bench. Like he's somebody that can actually develop, like who knows what the chemistry feels like when everybody's in sync.
yeah, he has a lot of playoff experience, and he's back to dunking the ball now. If you've seen the first 2 games, he's played great, and they're going to need him. So I see the Nets getting back to the finals versus the Lakers. I mean, the Nets getting to the finals to play the Lakers.
Now, who you got in the game? Who you got games then? Who we got for the if Nets and Lakers? Who you got?
I'm going to take the Nets. Probably the Nets in like 6. The Nets have home court advantage. I'm taking the Nets in. Nah, it has to be 6. I'm gonna take the Nets in 6. It's more of the same of what I was just saying. I think the Lakers will be able to get to the finals, but they haven't played great this season either. They've been a lot of ups and downs. LeBron said he doesn't know if he'll be fully healthy again. AD's looking healthy again, but who knows how healthy he is, and also can he stay healthy through the playoff run? And again, I don't with the firepower that the Nets have when it all comes down to it, I think even if their defense hasn't been that great, I think no other team may be able to keep up offensively wise. So they might give up a lot of points, but they're gonna score a lot of points too. And any team that's gonna beat them is gonna have to keep up that scoring for 6 games straight. Now I trust AD, I trust Braun, but do I trust Schroeder? Do I trust KCP? Do I trust those other guys to be able to keep up the scoring? Because KD, Harden, and Kyrie are probably giving you 90 points off the rip. So you got to at least have to keep up with that.
It's gonna be if it ends up being Lakers and Nets. That's gonna be one entertaining time to watch basketball. I feel like that's gonna be even people who don't even watch basketball are gonna actually tune in to watch just because of the star sort of spectacular that it's to be. How many people are actually like no names are now playing in the actual finals.
Yeah,
But
the star power is going to be there. The storylines are going to be there. Harden's going to be going for his first championship. The Nets are going to. The New York's going to win a championship for the first time in God knows how long.
80s,
KD
yeah,
versus LeBron.
when the Lakers, or not the Lakers, but when the Knicks won, I think it was the 80s or the 70s.
Yes, I think the 70s. I think it's like 72 and then like
Oh, yeah, that's right. I didn't
74.
know Patrick Ewing didn't get his.
Yeah, so then it's KD versus Braun, AD versus KD. So there's a whole bunch of storylines. It's New York versus LA. So there's a whole bunch of storylines there too.
Now, one player I do want to like give a little shout out to as well, just because of his growth and his change. Derrick Rose, like I mean, you got to give it to him for the adversity that man has faced. To see where he's at now, to see like him actually play like Derrick Rose, like he's looking pretty solid. And if he stays with the Knicks next year, and if Knicks stay as a whole next year, you can arguably say that that team has a little bit more of a first half like aggression, because if you notice the last couple of games that the second half is when they ball out the most, but the first half is when they start doing it's like a feeling out period for them. They can't really get like hot right off the start. They can't really make all their shots, but then afterwards they get warmed up.
Yeah, you definitely gotta give D Rose a shout out. You think about where he came from, all his injuries. A few years back, people said he was done. No one think he could have been here, and now he's basically the only person on the Knicks that are scoring. So So
Yeah.
you definitely gotta give him his flowers, his roses, all that. Like you said, big shout out to him for being able to change his game. And Kenny Smith asked him on the air the other day, like, what's different now? He's really changed his game around from being a high flyer to now he's kind of more of a jump shooter. He's not doing as much dunking and things like that. So he's definitely helping the Knicks. I think the Knicks are gonna have to figure out something on defense if they want to get back in the series. They don't know. In the second half of game two, trapping Trae Young off the screens really helped them and helped slow them down. But the Hawks have a whole bunch of shooters. So if you're gonna be trapping Trae Young, you're leaving other shooters open. So either they're gonna have to let Trae Young put their best defender on Trae
What's
Young and
the
stay home
whole
on
New
all
York City
shooters.
getting in Trae Young's head, going against Trae's bull? Like that was that's just New York. That's New York just coming out their heads. Like they're ready.
Yeah.
They're ready.
Yeah, so they're gonna have to either let someone play one on one with him and try to slow him down, stay home on all shooters, or they're gonna have to try in that trapping and hopefully that their shooters aren't hitting shots. But also, if you look at the end of game three, the Hawks were Trae Young was passing the ball early before the trap came, and then the Hawks are playing 3-on-4, and then if the person in the middle makes the right play, you take one dribble, you can throw a lob up to Capella. That's how Capella got all those dunks later on in the game. So the Knicks will have to figure out something defensively. They had the number one defense in the league all season, so I think they'll be able to figure it out. But I expect it to go 7 anyway. So I think
It's an
the
entertaining
Knicks will get the next
series.
game.
It's entertaining. It's nice to hear the Garden actually roaring again and actually seeing fans really being involved. Like it's just a genuine like appreciation, especially after the holy shit year that we just went through. That we just went through. How many? Never knew. Never in my life would I ever think that the whole world is watching marbles race at the same time. Like it came to a point where we were watching marbles race in the grass. I mean, yes, Network did a pretty decent job of just showing old Yankee games, but I mean, at the same time, it just there was nothing like having real sports again. When the sports came back, it was like a sign towards humanity. Like, okay, we're starting to get back. And then when now that sports and the stadiums got the good to go to pack out, now it's just like you feel normal again. It feels great, and it's more of an appreciation to actually now attend a game or attend a concert. Like there's going to be more of a love now, knowing that it was just taken away like that.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, it's good to see the crowds packed. I was at game three for Miami the other day and seeing the crowd there yelling because I was able to cover games where there was no
Wow,
crowds there. So to see the difference of a few months ago where there being no crowds and it's just kind of media and personnel there
you got
to
firsthand
seeing
experience, and you literally get to see. You got to see what it's
yeah,
like to really see an empty court and to see players ball out, and then now you get to see the stadium packed out and basically the same arena.
yeah, I think stadiums did a good job of trying to make fake fan noise and crowd noises, but it's just nothing like the real thing. Like even at the Heat game the other day, fans were counting down 10 seconds because when you get to the free throw line, you have to shoot the ball in 10 seconds, and Giannis be going over the time. So the fans were yelling out, counting out 1, 2, 3, and then one fan that was next to me was just screaming like, "Come on, ref, you got to call it." That's just things that you can't get if it's a fake crowd or nothing like that. So having the fans there and even the athletes talk about it, it just brings another energy. The game I went to wasn't the greatest because he got blown out, but like you said, seeing Madison Square Garden when someone makes a big play or a big dunk, all you see is everyone stand up, the crowd go
Yeah,
crazy. So like you said, it's good to see things getting back to normal and just maybe so everyone can breathe a sign of relief because for a second we didn't know when life
literally
was going to get
breathe,
back to
mask
normal.
down.
Yeah, we didn't know when anything was gonna get back to normal. We didn't know. Some people were scared. Like I know some people who went through anxiety and different things like that. So I think this just
Yeah,
helps everyone kind of take a sigh of relief and like, okay, it's more than just having the fans back. Like you said, it's more like let's get back to real life a little bit.
because it's in at the end of the day, whether there's like real life issues in the sports or not, sports are the sports. The game's still going to be played regardless. Like the fact that people are mad that the players have something on the back of their heads or on their jerseys that represent something in the real world, it's pisses me off because what issue? Why does that bother you? Like what did that person do to you personally? Did they make your life miserable? Did they ruin your life? No, they're just literally trying to give a little bit more awareness towards something. The game is still being played.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I'm kind of like you. I don't know why people would feel a certain way about different things like that. But it's good that the NBA did it. You got to make people uncomfortable, and that's really what's going to cause the change. The NBA, WNBA, all the people, everyone, the protests like we were just talking about. You got to make those people uncomfortable, and then really it helps them show themselves because the people who, because those people may be racist or they may feel some type of way about things and they won't say nothing. But when you make them uncomfortable, like you said, the people start to show themselves because now they're like, oh, I'm mad about this. I'm mad about that. So now we're asking the question, why are you mad about just a equality sign on the back of someone's jersey? So it also helps kind of bring those things to light.
It's just an equality. It's not demanding anything. It's just, can we be equal? Can we just be equal? Can if my rights get violated, can they be the same precaution? Like the person who violated my rights, regardless of what they do for a living, can they get the same punishment as everybody else does? And stop hiding behind like the lies that there's no true privilege on a country that's built off of lies and blood and mischievous actions and constant whitewashing. We're going into a time where the politicians who were alive during that frame are starting to flake off like flies now because of how old they are. Newer faces are taking over office. Newer laws are going to be placed. Newer, I want to say, opportunities are going to be available for people of all races, of all beliefs, and of all genders. People still don't believe that there's a gender gap, gender wage gap. They don't believe that men make more money than women. It's still it's still something that basis people want to constantly say, it's not affecting me, so why would I want to care about it? Because what happens when it does affect you?
Yeah, I think that the change in office and the change in eras is a real big point, and I'm happy that you brought it up because it's hard, kind of like what I was just saying before. When people are stuck in their ways, it's kind of hard to get them out of it. And those people who were in the '70s and back in the who were in their '70s and like back in the day where like races and stuff was being okay, it's hard for you to tell them now that it's not okay because they're gonna be like, I've been doing this for the last 60 years. You
And
know
what do
what
you
I
mean
mean?
it's not
To tell
okay?
me,
I've been spitting on them for years.
yeah, like I've been doing it for 50 years. You new blood people come and tell me that it's wrong. It's like you're not gonna be able to tell someone like that. So
Some people
it's
just can't.
good that the new wave is coming in and they see the change and even like we just talked, everything that's happening now is really gonna affect the next generation more. Like obviously it's gonna affect us and the people
Yeah,
and like the people before us affected us, but the next wave is really gonna be like where you're really gonna see the most change, especially with everything that's going on, because they're gonna grow up in a world where it's like it's more equal and it's like okay, you call out the people who are being racist, you call out the people who think this is right and this is and this and that, and the change starts at a younger age. So later on in life, it's not like I was saying, I've been doing this for 50 years, so I just think it's okay. Nobody can tell me that I'm wrong because it's hard to tell someone like that you're wrong if you've been doing something right for 50 years. So, like I
someone
said, the
actually
next generation and all these changes
protest
is
last
great.
someone definitely brought that up. There was a little conflict that's an older white gentleman in his mid 60s was basically saying, "What the fuck are you guys doing? Blocking up the roadways for some huh that died." I will not repeat. I will never repeat that word. And immediately things got hot. But then you had someone step in the middle and saying, "You can't rewire that brain. That's a brain that you cannot like touch." And he went, it's just stuff I've learned since I was so age." And like he had his hands up and all that stuff. But it's just like you obviously that you see that now that it's wrong. And I understand that there is no room for rewiring, but there is room for acknowledgement
That's true.
of realizing your surroundings, of being just a little bit more self-aware and holding in your hate. And try to learn. Just try. Stop watching CNN and Fox News. Stop watching the real media and actually pick up a book and do some real education. Listen to another podcast. Really expand your mind. Don't have to just sit down and watch the same shit or listen to the same shit. Like there's a lot of other views out there that you can honestly agree with from multiple different people. It's just a matter of, are they pushing the right information, and are they pushing the right message? Some people, are they pushing the message towards equality, or are they pushing the message towards to feed your rage? A lot of media today feeds the rage of people. They feed their side. Today, there's very few true resources that actually commit to both sides, that will show the 6 and the 9 and then show the other side. Like, it's those are the kind of shows that need to start taking over more. Those are the kind of shows that need to take over CNN and Fox News and all the other fucking political bullshit that fade towards that cater towards just one side. Because there is just no one side. The more that we're the United States for a reason. We're not the divided states. We're united. But some people just want to stay divided. They want to continue that tribalism and that labelism.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of like what I was saying too. Like the next wave of journalists and stuff that's going to come in, they're going to be the people who make the change because they're the ones who like really want to do it. Like you said, the people before, and it's the fake news is kind of what's crazy. And to your point, like you just said, which is a great point, you really have to go out there. You got to go out there and really find it. But like I was saying earlier, some people can shape a story where it's like, you'll think it's true. And now, obviously, nothing I'm saying is excuses for these people or anything like that. You have to go educate, and you have to be able to know the difference between what's true, what's fake. You got to just can't hear one source and run with it. You got to hear multiple sources. You got to hear other sides.
Multiple sources. If multiple sources are saying the same thing, then obviously it's a true statement. Like the sky is obvious. Obviously, it's raining today. Multiple sources will tell you that it's raining. So it's raining.
Also, there's a part in there where you have to think for yourself. Like, okay, multiple people said this, multiple people said that. What is, you know what I mean? Like, think like what's true. You know what I mean? Because you can, when you really sit there and think of things, like you can really wash out. Okay, this, because someone may tell you a story, they may be a little fake in it. So you can wash out, like you take both sides and wash out what's fake, what's real, and really come down and get your own answer and kind of look at yourself in the mirror. It can't just always be you go look at the media, you look for other people for answers. You gotta use that source and use that information and really build your own answer and really, like look at yourself. Like, is being racist okay? Like, is it okay to just hate someone because of their skin color? Is it okay to just like blatantly disrespect people? Is it okay to be unfair?
To be mad at a statement such as literally a statement that is Black Lives Matter? Literally matter. Not matter more, not matter the most, not matter more than you. Just matter.
And that's the biggest thing with that too, because it's like we never said our lives were better than yours or Black lives are more important than yours. We just have to bring it up that it matters because you guys are acting like it doesn't. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like
exactly.
So it's just crazy. So you really
that people don't want to actually understand. They rather just say it as the leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement. They have Marxism lettering on. But that they're not the real movement, though. Like the real movement is just showing that there's true fucking inequality being displayed in this country, and in a country that displays true freedom should entitle true equality at the same time. True equality.
Definitely. And you gotta, like I said, you gotta basically question everything. It's not, like I said, you gotta get all that information and really look at yourself and think like, is it okay for me to be doing this? And because some people, like I said, you can hear a story and it can sound real, but you gotta look at yourself and be like, 50 people told me it's okay to violate somebody, but does that make it okay? You know what I mean? So like, you still gotta go and look at yourself and really break down information and get information and really question everything. And that's not to say don't believe nothing, but question it. Like, okay, 50 people told me that it's okay to do this, but is it really okay to do that? You know what I mean? Yeah, so you really got to like think for yourself a little bit.
You should question what's wrong. You should question everything that's wrong. That's patriotic. It's questioning what's wrong with the country so we can actually make it the best country, so we can make it better. That's what's patriotic. Not what's continually not just following rules that were written with a feather and 1,000 other people in our country. We're going off of rules that were written with a fucking feather and there was flame as a light. We're going off of rules that were hundreds of years ago when our country was just only 13 colonies. Now we have over 50 plus states, now considering Hawaii and Puerto Rico also. Well, Hawaii, obviously, the state, but and 50 states in Puerto Rico. It's mind-boggling because now we have we're approaching billions of people now, billions of people in our country, and we're still stuck in the frame of this. It's only patriotic if you're wearing red, white, and blue, and you're supporting those exact amendments. Basically, I have my freedom of speech, and I'm using my freedom of speech to say that we need to fucking fix some shit to make this country right.
Yeah, and that's the message that needs to get out, and everyone needs to hear. And then from there, the people who want to make the change are going to make the change, and the people who don't, you kind of just can't convince them. But you hope eventually, with it being in their face enough, they'll see that, like, all right, it's time for a change. And like I said, it's gonna really be the next generation who are gonna us, and then they continue on with the next generation who are gonna be able to see
We do
things
the proper
differently.
educating.
Yeah, and do the proper educating where they're gonna see things differently, and they're really gonna make the real huge change.
I know for a fact I'll never know exactly what it's like to live the lifestyle of someone who's black or someone who's Hispanic. You know, I do have the skin of a white man, but I will always use my skin to my advantage and use my voice when I want to. And being out there in the streets, actually, the amount of times that I had people walking me saying, "Yo, can you talk to that cop for me real quick? You're fair skinned." And it's like, it makes that's the moment when you realize, like, shit, they're actually scared to talk to a cop. What the fuck is going on here? And it's like, now I gotta be, I'm like the bridge talking to just these two individuals just because of my skin. Like, he's gonna talk to me differently because I'm white and you're black. Like, it was literally in that exact moment I was just like, yeah, no, I'm here for it all. Like, my fist is up in the air for exact reason, because there really needs to be a change.
Yeah, and it takes things like that to happen. That's what's good with social media and different things like that, because you now see it. A lot of people wasn't seeing it and different things like that. Like you got to experience it because, like I said, we come from a very diverse place, but some people don't. Like
Probably
some
the
people
most diverse accepting place, honestly.
Yeah, like some people don't. Some people come where it's just they only see them. So it's like they don't have that experience that you got. So they're not going to get that click in their head. They just thinking everything's okay and you're just going on about life. But you got that experience where it's like, okay, it clicks. And like I said, that's what good social media, because now you see it. You see a cop is on a man's neck for 8 minutes. Now it starts to click, like, okay, a cop wouldn't sit on my neck for 8 minutes. You know what I mean? So then it starts to click. And that's kind of and that's what's good about the NBA getting the message out. That's a good way to pushing the message on social media or the protesting and different things like that. It's because now the people who didn't get to see it are really getting to see it. And it's going to start to click for them, you hope.
And it's a shame that it's taken this long for things to change, such as, like, the Washington's name. Like, that's one name where it's like, obviously we come from a country where we're in a country where we, Pilgrims slayed people that were in this country already, and they were Native Americans, and in a proper term for them was called a Redskin. And now you had a football team named after them, and it took all this change and all this the real progression towards social media and all this other technological advances that make the statement more known that it's like, it's a very fucked up name to have in this country, that you're naming the Redskins a football team. Like, that's somebody that can that's a team that can obviously be named something else, and not the best name, the stupidest fucking name they came to replace it.
You know what's crazy about the name, and maybe this would be a hot take, and I don't have no information about this, but I feel like obviously he didn't want to change the name, and I feel like him changing it to just the football team, and like you said, it's not the greatest name. It's kind of stupid. I feel like that was kind of a like added spite move. Like, you're forcing me to change the name, so fine, just name us the football team. You know what I mean? Because he could have really went. That's just what it seems like to me. Like I said, I don't got no insight on it. I'm not trying to accuse him or anything, but that's what it kind of seems like to me. Like, because he didn't want to change it. Because I think there was something where it's like they kind of told him change it a few years back, and he didn't want to because I think the name was already making so much money. But then they kind of like forced him to change it. So it's like, I just name us the football team. You know what I mean? Like, he could have asked the fans what they wanted and different things like that. Like, I feel like the football thing was kind of maybe a little bit of spite move.
Yeah, I could definitely, seeing how you say that, I definitely could see how it could be a spiteful move, especially considering how some spiteful millionaires and billionaires can be.
I mean, he could really have wanted to name it that. So, like I said, I'm not accusing no one, but it does come off like he just named us the football team. It was a
temporary name until we figure it out, but we needed the name.
Oh, that's what. He said it's a temporary name.
I think they said. I remember when they first said it was like a temporary name for now until we figure out exactly what the name is. But I feel
I thought he said it was a permanent name, so I may be wrong. Like I said, I didn't have no information on it. That was just my
wrong
quick
also.
take on it.
I'm not too sure on it. This is an issue
So
where
no, and I just wanted no one
we
accused.
don't know this issue. We don't know that. We're from New York. If it was the Giants or the Jets, if it was the Yankees, if it was the Nets, if it was the Knicks, if it was the Mets, different story.
Yeah, I'm not trying to accuse him of nothing or anything. It was just my quick, 1-2. But if he said they plan on changing the name, then sure, maybe. That's just something I thought of. I'm not saying it's true.
Yeah, I definitely could see that though. Like coming from, we could see when someone's trying to finesse somebody, basically. Like coming from
Yeah.
where we're at, like we know a little bit. Like you do that shit out of spite. Like you, it's like come on now. You get the squinty eye, lean back a little bit, just like.
Because like the football team, did you really just want to name it the football team? Like I feel like, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's just me thinking about it a little bit.
But listen, man, I honestly appreciate this conversation because this went everywhere where I wanted to go. Because we talked about everything from sports to real life topics to childhood stuff to Brentwood. Honestly, like this is probably I wasn't expecting it to be this flowing. Like I was honestly like this was a pretty solid. I didn't realize how much time went by until I looked up. I was like, oh shit, wow, we're past the hour mark already.
Yeah, definitely. Me either. Like you said, we kind of went everywhere. I didn't expect to get into politics as much, but love the conversation. I didn't mind getting into
Some
it.
things
But
need
like
to
you
be
said,
said. And
yeah,
it's
that's
important
true.
that people hear from coming from our mouths because we're the next generation, and not knowing that there are people who are out there that will listen to this, and this could change some minds. Like the way that we broke like a lot of things down. I hope that people can see our six and away from their not. They come to our side and see that it's a six on our side. Then that as well.
Yeah,
Real quick,
definitely.
where can we find you guys at? Also, I forgot to
Oh,
mention the podcast and everything else.
Oh yeah, well you can find the podcast on Twitter at the not the rundown at rundown show _. I'm pretty sure on Instagram it's the same. It's at rundown _. You can find me on everything as K Davis 75 _. You can also go to our website, which is rundownshow.com. So that's where you can find all of us at.
Yeah, I want to make sure you got that plug out also. What were you saying before I interrupt you?
Oh, I forgot. Now I was saying that I didn't mind us going in mad different directions. I just brought that point up to say like that's how we just went in mad different directions because we did some things that was kind of unexpected.
It's important. It really is important because I wasn't really that active on social media like over the past like a couple months or so. I've been more focused on getting like my real career and everything else together. But now this is also giving me an opportunity doing this podcast, not only promote people who wanted to, really talk the bullshit, but also giving some people an opportunity to promote their stuff, but also go into detail about what they do and how they got to where they're at. And I also find just this stuff entertaining myself. I'm not doing this for fame, right? I'm doing this right now with like these conversations as my way of like being. It's fun for me because I like to learn more things. I like to learn more information. I like to see things from other people's perspectives. I like to hear, how some people got to where they're at. Because there's people out there who are questioning that we live around. There's people here in Brentwood that question they need to know like how can we do certain things, and not everybody has exact answers. But some people that I talk to on here can give them a little bit of enlightenment towards what they went through and how they got to where they're at. Because not everyone I've had on here so far has basically was going one way, and then boom, something else happening in life, and then like God showed them a way that they can actually benefit from more, and it's inspiring because knowing you for so long as well, knowing you since middle school, and knowing everything that's happened over the years, it's truly motivating, and it really gives a lot of the people like hopefully a little bit more of a fire under their ass to truly understand that if you are being led down a certain path, it's not because it's a mistake. It's because you're being led down that way for a reason, and maybe you should listen a little bit more and have the open mind.
Yeah, definitely, and it's good coming from you, kind of like you're saying, you being white and hearing it from you will kind of maybe affect more people because other like white people will see this and be like, like even with like white people getting out and protesting and things like that. I think it's easier when you see someone you can relate to. It's kind of like we were saying with Mitch Kupchak, someone that came from where we came from. When you see someone that looks like you you start to wonder, like, okay, if he's thinking that way, then maybe there's something that I maybe need to look into too. So you getting out here, like you said, getting your word out, that's very important too. And I appreciate you having me on. And definitely, like we were saying, coming from where we come from, I didn't expect to be here at all. I'm just,
Yeah,
I
you're
wouldn't
going
say
to
I was
Syracuse,
winging it.
man. You're about getting ready to go into some student debt and getting ready to go and live and be frozen into an icicle living upstate. That was, but now look at you now. You went for a full ride to a warm climate with beautiful people everywhere who
And
are looking
also,
for like serious change.
it also came from not going to school. I had no plans on going to college. I had no plans on doing nothing. It was really just going out on a whim, starting off in Suffolk, finding different things you like. And someone had a quote that I seen the other day that they posted. Someone asked the entrepreneur, like, what's the best advice you would give somebody? And it's like, find something you love and find a way to make money off of it. So when people talk to me about school and I talk to people about school, it was always find a major that's basically the same thing, like something that you love, and then going to class would be easier. Doing this would be easier. No matter what job or whatever you do, you work, there's always going to be stuff you didn't want to do. Like, did I want to go sit in a calculus class for 3 hours? No. Did I want to learn? Did I want to do all that math? Like, no. But there's obviously a whole bunch of things that you're gonna like to do. Like you, for example, you say you're doing athletic training and stuff. Like I'm pretty sure, I don't know, but just to make something up, there's probably paperwork you don't want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's always something that
the whole the amount of I had to do it basically. I call it an internship basically with a company called We Fit 360, which is just basically hands-on experience, personal training while still getting paid like minimal money. But it gave me the experience needed for personal training. And then I did my schooling online. I bought my certification, and I bought the schooling for certifications through the ISSA, and I did all three certifications within a year. And to give you an idea, each one of those certifications, you have to write like 4 different essays, along with like 100+ multiple choice questions, and then some other write out questions as well. On top of the quizzes, which are the quizzes about like 20+ quizzes, depending on what certification. And it was just a lot of stuff. They not to have like a professor instruction, like have like an actual stuff you have to learn on your own. It was definitely an experience as far as myself. Like I never learned in school. I was always more paying attention towards what am I gonna do when I'm gonna get out. Like I was more focused on just hanging with the boys after school. Now when I was working overnight for Planet Fitness, I was training Shaquille and Pooh for a little bit. They came through. I was training the both of them overnight, and Shaquille and Pooh back when I went in middle school bullied the shit out of me. I was getting beat up by them. They would toss me around, man. And I was actually then training them and then teaching them, and also see the growth that they have gone through as well is pretty incredible as well. It shows you that you don't have to always hold on to those childhood grudges. Like people can change. Like kids were kids at the time, but then it's crazy to see that change. Like I was training those two they gave me shit in middle school, but then also seeing
so
SmackDown down by you, it's just like it just shows more growth. That's all it
yeah.
just shows, growth.
Yeah, definitely. And like I was saying, like you're always gonna have part of a job or something that you don't like, but like just find something you like. Kind of like I was saying, you find something you like and you kind of just go for it. And that's kind of where I was at. And also, you got to get the right people around you. I know you brought up about how I've been having the same people around me for maybe the last 10, 15 years, kind of since we were kids. You gotta have the right people around you because there was times where like I you brought up Pooh. There's times where like he was like, yo, this is what you need to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like he used to be around me a lot. And he's like, yo, TV talking sports, like that's you. Like that's your lane. You feel me? Go for it. You know that type. So you need those type
I
of
hear it in his voice. I hear Pooh's voice. I hear it in his fucking voice.
and you see how it worked out for me. And there's other people. I seen you during the 4th of July. You basically said the same thing to me. So like you need those type of people around you to encourage you and even just give you the motivation to let you know. Or even if you're going on the wrong path, like like all right, bro, this is you. Like you might not even know what you want to do, You just because like I said, I never had this plan. I was just going with the flow. Like I can't tell you that I was gonna be at UM. I can tell you I wanted to be on TV. When I first got to college, it was none of that. It was just like I'm here right now. I need to, you feel me? I wanted to get a car. You feel me? Different things like that. But then I was doing different things, and you feel me? My friends like, nah, you nice at this. You gotta, you feel me? Gotta keep going doing that. Like, yo, sat down, talked real fast. Like, yo, you should definitely go this way because that's working for you. You know what I mean? So you need those real people around you too. So find something you love, something that you feel me, make some money off of it, and to that same point is that obviously you need money and everyone loves money, but find something you love first for the fact that you might be doing it for the rest of your life. So like you think about me, people are doing a career right now and they get up every day and hate going to work. You don't want to do that for the rest of your life because those are the people who come home angry, they mad at their
Don't want to
kids
become
and
a victim
different.
to the corporate scheme.
That's right. So find something you love that you can make money off of it, and then go from there. And then that's something you wake up like I wake up every day. I'm happy. You see, when you hit me up, what I say, I'm always willing to work. It's you
Yeah,
feel me? Like,
I'm definitely gonna have you back
you,
on again because this like it's almost coming up on 2 hours and it just flew right by, man. Like we definitely gotta have
yeah,
you on a little bit more, especially after the playoffs on to get a little more hindsight, especially how you. I want to see I want to see if your predictions and everything came true, but I also want to get your your opinion on everything how it went. But then also we got to talk a little bit more about the NFL season coming up because with all the moves that happened over this last season, I don't know what the hell to expect next year. All I know is that Tom Brady's team is still fully intact. The Chiefs just made a whole offensive line push that made the whole Super Bowl. Like if they had that offensive line, it could have been a whole different story. Then you got J.J. Watt leaving Texas. You got the whole Deshaun Watson thing still breaking down. Then you got everybody talking about the New York scene, how Sam Donald went down to Panthers and how Jets got a new quarterback. You know, you got about the Giants up here in New York talking to like everything on paper looks pretty freaking amazing, like it does every time. But then, can they actually play together? Can they actually, win the game? Can they, make the whole? Can Daniel Jones actually be our starting quarterback? All the other things, like there's a lot more questions and all of this stuff. Like that's the beauty about sports. Like, I can always have you back on again and just do another rundown about sports and other real
yeah,
life topics.
yeah, definitely. I appreciate you having me on. Whenever you need me to come back, like I said, I'm always willing to work. And anything, whatever it is, whether you need whatever, if I can help you, bro, definitely reach out to me. I'll do the best I can.
The same thing here. If is there anything you want to promote, or if there's anything that you actually want to go in detail about, and you want to have some place where you can tell people go there real quick, like watch that video to get a little more detail about it. That's what this is for as well. For you to put as much detail as you want out, so this way you don't have to repeat yourself and save yourself actual time in real life.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you, bro.
No worries,
Like I
Brody.
said, we go way back. So, like you said, seeing the change of everybody. I'm in a group chat, Raul and them. You guys see how different those guys are too. So
Man,
definitely
Raul.
appreciate catching up
Man,
with you.
I haven't thought about that name probably since like eighth, ninth grade. That damn man, how's he
Yeah.
been?
So Raul's good. He went to Dartmouth, so he was Ivy League, and he's out working somewhere now. He got a good job, so Raul's
Wow,
doing his thing.
wow, man. No,
And if you think about us too. Remember how like crazy we were in middle school? We never did no work. We was just out all the time hanging out. And now look, both of us graduated from two big
the
universities.
comedians in the classrooms. So long the
Yeah,
cafeteria time was hell for anyone who was on there. Like it was ever in the middle. It was a
yeah.
lot of laughs, but we were reckless
Good.
kids. But that's what you expect with the environment they were around. Especially during that time frame when we were out in Brentwood. Like during that time frame, there's a lot of gang culture took over heavily during that time frame. But also
Definitely.
a lot of laughs. I had a lot
Yeah.
of laughs.
We had a great time. So like I said, appreciate catching up with you. Appreciate talking
Yeah,
to
we'll
you,
definitely
man. I
catch up
appreciate
again
you
too
having me on
soon,
the
Brody.
show.
I'm gonna have this episode out
Definitely.
probably on either Wednesday or Thursday. I got one episode I'm dropping out tomorrow, and then I'm gonna try to drop at least 2 to 3 episodes every few days. So that's the way this podcast is gonna work now. But whenever you want to stop by again, if you want to promote, if you and your boy want to pop on, you guys are more than welcome to tag along as well.
Definitely. Next time I'll probably bring Rich so you can get his story out too. He's also from Brentwood, and he got
Yeah,
his own little story.
talk about everything with Brentwood. There's a lot that happened here, so there's a lot that we can always talk about. One more time, where can they find you, and where can they find your podcast at?
Yeah, definitely. You can find me at KDavis75 on mostly everything. And the show you can find on our website, therundownshow.com, and then Twitter's Rundown Show, and then Instagram is Rundown Show _.
And for all the NBA heads, when can they hear you on Sirius XM?
Oh yeah, we're on I got Mike McCoy's show every Wednesday, channel 145. We come on at like 12:20. We stay until like 1. So every Wednesday, channel 145, Sirius XM Radio.
There you go for all y'all who got a Sirius XM subscription, including myself. But Run Man, to officially say it, like not in person, but through a screen, congratulations on all your success. Congratulations on your degree. When you come back to Brentwood, it's going to be a whole movie, I'm sure, especially the 4th of July if you come pop by again. But yeah, man, it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to the next conversation.
Hey,
All right, so real quick, guys. Sorry, I just want to take a break from the podcast. Talk a little bit about your next supplement purchase, and as well as your next energy drink purchase, your next protein purchase, basically your next life enhancement purchase. Uh, Before you make that next one, I want you to take a look into probably one of the best companies that's on the block currently right now, and is also one of the most badass companies currently right now. And that company is Origin Main, as well as the branch off from it, Jocko. So Jocko's supplement line, I take personally. I take Super Krill, as well as the Cold War, which is an immune system boost, and my favorite, mm, Jocko Milk Protein. So what's key and what's very, very different about this magnificent, beautiful creation is it's sweetened with monk fruit. Monk fruit is better for your body and as well as a better for your blood sugar. It is assistant with weight loss. It brings assistance. It is Dude, I can't fucking speak English right now. It assists with weight loss, and as well as has digestive enzymes already infused in the protein powders, and it also has infused probiotics. Sounds like two less supplements that you guys spend money on. Literally, everything is already inside of the protein along with your protein. It's also a time release factor protein, uh, meaning that it's not going to just immediately burn through your body. It's actually going to help your body recover from the intense workout that you put yourself through, or if you're just looking to have a nice little sweet shake to kill the cravings, I 110%, especially for the chocolate lovers, chocolate one is by far probably the best chocolate protein I've ever tasted, and I firmly will stand by that ground. And the Jocko Discipline Go. So basically, what that is a natural neurotropic energy drink. Has no more than about 95 milligrams of caffeine compared to other energy drinks that are popular right now, ranging anywhere between 200 to 300 milligrams of caffeine, leaving you jittery up all night. So this being less than a cup of coffee and more focused on neurotropic energy than just caffeine energy, I 110% recommend that as well. Everything that this company has, I have yet to have tried a bad have yet to have tried a bad product. If only I could speak this right for them. So use my code Welsh10 for 10% off your next shipment. Again, Welsh WELSH 10 10% off your next shipment. And yeah, thank me later.